Welcome again to another tutorial in IronCAD. This is to create a lower tapered hold. This is from Toby's practice model dated May 3rd, 2024. This model is a pretty interesting model. This basically has a thickness of 16, and we got these arc shapes here that we know the inside radius on this, and we know the overall height for our cylinder on the top that stops here. It has a taper on it. Typically, I think most people would draw this bottom profile here as a sketch and then offset it to extrude it. I'm going to show you how to build this in IronCAD. We could obviously build it the same way, but I'm going to show you how to do it some other ways with our catalog. So let's go ahead and hop over to IronCAD, and I'll go ahead and walk through building this model here. So what I'm going to start with is I'm actually going to start with an extrude, and I'm going to put the overall dimensions on this. So we have our handle highlighted yellow, which way it's going. So we know that total distance is 180 for the length, the width is 80, and our thickness is 16 for that. So we're going to set our base there. So what I want to do next is we have a bunch of catalogs. We have our starter shapes, we have advanced shapes, and inside of here is a part of a cylinder, which I can drag and drop out here. And I'm just going to flip the direction, and I'm going to snap it down to the bottom because that's where our center point is. So now we just need to set our diameters and radius here. So on our diameter side, we know this is actually going to be the 40 plus 16 for the thickness, and we're going to divide that or multiply that by 2, so it's going to be 56 times 2 for that overall width of that thing. So then we want to do the same for the top, but this is just the radius value, so we can just edit the size box there, which is going to be 56 for that diameter. So that gives us the overall size for this. So basically giving us our starting shape here. And what I'm going to do next is just go ahead and add our blend here, which has got a 10 millimeter blend on this, or fillet, however you like to call that in the systems. We call it a blend in IronCAD, but we're going to go ahead and apply that there. Now, instead of doing this as an extrude and drawing that arcs and then extruding it through, the reason I built it this way is I can actually simply just do a shell on this. So if I shell this part at the thickness of 16, it's not going to mess with our shape here. There's nothing to shell. It'll just shell out our center part. So we have the shell at 16, hit OK, and that will give us our value. So if we want to see this, we can look at this arc here. So our radius, so that's 40, that's the thickness of that. So we did the math right. This is 10, and when you have the thickness, it's going to be 26, which is also what's called out on the drawing. So just a very interesting way to build that shape. So again, we didn't have to go into the sketches to do that. Next, I'll go back into my starter catalog, and I'm going to drag and drop a cylinder out here, and I'm going to drop it on the center point, so I have a reference point that I'm in the middle of this part, and we know a distance from the bottom actually to give the overall height of this, which is 85 for that, and it has a diameter for this shape at, let's see, that is 65 for the diameter. And now we simply can just move this over to the center of our part, which I'm going to lock an axis here, and I'm going to grab the center point, and I'm going to snap it over here. I can hit this quadrant point, or I can hold the shift key down and select that circular edge, and it will snap us right into the center. So that gives us our location for our shape. Don't have to use any datum planes or anything to do that. We just use our TriBall to do that. And last, we want to make sure that this stops on our top surface. Now, this is an extrude shape. It has a direction arrow showing you that it's extruding up. So we want to extrude the back to stop on this face. So we'll just right click, do the backward condition into this face, and hit finish, and that will extrude us down to that face. Okay. Next, we'll just go ahead and do the holes here on this part. So we do know there is a hole here that's got a diameter of 50 and a depth of 12. And I'm just going to hit the enter key until I get to that bottom handle that moves up, and I'll set that to 12 for that one. And then next we have another hole that goes through this part that has a diameter of 32, but it has a taper on this as well. So we'll just go ahead and right click, go to our surface reshaping, and we're going to do the side, and we're going to do a taper on that at a -6 to give the overall value of 12 for that. Okay, so that's fairly simple to do there. And last, we're going to drop a hole here. We can do a through hole, or we can just do another hole out here, and I'm just going to drop it right onto the center point. Again, I can hold the shift key down, select this edge, and it'll drop into the center. And we know it has a diameter of 11 for that shape. And we're just going to use a TriBall, and we're going to rotate this away from us or towards us, either way, it doesn't matter, 90 degrees. And now we're in the center in the right location. We know it has a depth of 20, so we'll just move it down, type in 20, and we can just now grab that handle on the opposite side here, right next to our TriBall there, and just pull it through. Okay, so now we've got a through hole going through our model, and it's in the 11mm diameter at the location that needs to be. All right, so we are almost done. We just have to do these other two shapes here. And there's multiple ways to do this. I can do this with one shape and, draw it out and as an extrude, or we can do it with two shapes. So I'm just going to do it with, let's just do it with two shapes. It's easy enough to do. I'm going to drop it right here on our center point of our face, and it has a diameter of 18, I believe, yeah, for that shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it again to the center. I'm going to use the center point as the reference. So I'll do the same thing, lock it, snap it to the center. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and drag the shape, and I'm going to make a linked copy. I want to copy on both sides, so I can basically do a repeat in the opposite direction. So we have a distance set of 161, so we'll just divide that by 2, which is the 80.5 position to place that. So since we made these links, so again, we can drop another shape here on extrude cut to size this. So if I zoom in here a little bit, I'll show you what I mean. I can just drop here onto our center point with our shape, and it's going to make it a little bit smaller for us. So I'm going to set this handle to be snapping to the center point, and then I can just right click and drag this, set it to 18, pull it through on both ends to cut it out. Okay, so that's basically just using two shapes instead of using one. I could have added the cross section of the circle and drew two lines on there. Either way would have worked. Next, I'm going to make the same copy again to the other side, so I'm just going to move it over to the center point again, turn our TriBall on, and what we're going to do is just do a mirror link to the other side. So now we have that same cutout on the other side. All right, the last thing we need to do is add these fillets or blends to our outer edge, and we'll just go ahead and select down to our edge. And everything in IronCAD is kind of content sensitive, so when you select on that and you right click, you get what commands are available for that. So we're going to do a blend edge on that, and in this case these are 15mm blends, and so we just pick those edges that we need. And we can't get this back edge, so we can rotate around, or we can just put our cursor down where it needs to be, and we're just basically hovering over that edge inside of there and hold Control Alt left click. It'll give us a filter. In this case, we want that particular edge there. Now we've got it, we can hit OK. So that will give us our shape that's for this model. This is that lower tapered holder here. So if we go into our mass density, this has a mass density of 2700 there, and that should give us a total mass of 852 for this model. So again, this is a fairly simple model to build in IronCAD, and we're just using standard drag and drop features to do this, and just kind of a unique way of a shell to do this instead of doing an extrude. Again, we could have done an extrude feature on this, drew it all in sketches, drew this in sketches, put it, draw this in sketches as well. We could have all done this all in sketches, but just trying to show you the different ways to accomplish these in IronCAD. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.